Sometimes these things happen in MMA.
Hey, what's going on, fight fans? Welcome to These Things Happen in MMA. The purpose of this channel is to highlight fighters, moments, and events that have made mixed martial arts into what it is today. Don't forget to follow on social media for occasional giveaways, and I'm proud to announce Full Contact Fighter as an official sponsor of the channel. Established in 1997, Full Contact Fighter is the sport's longest-standing media outlet and lifestyle apparel line, with their clothing appearing on many of MMA's earliest legends. If you'd like to learn more about the company, visit FullContactFighter.com, where you can also own a piece of mixed martial arts history. I'd also like to give a special thanks to Shammy on YouTube for recommending today's topic. In this episode, I'm going to talk about a mixed martial artist who's remained one of the top fighters in the world for nearly 2 decades. This is the story of Gegard Mousasi and his championship career. Starting in 2003 at the age of 17, Mousasi spent the first 3 years of his career fighting in small regional shows around Europe. After earning a record of 12-1-1, Mousasi signed with Japan's Pride FC and took part in their 15-man welterweight Grand Prix that spanned over 5 months and was held across 3 separate events. In the opening round, Gegard faced Makoto Takimoto, an Olympic gold medalist in judo with a 2-2 record in mixed martial arts. Early in the contest, Takimoto relied heavily on his grappling as he managed to control Mousasi on the ground before nearly finishing the fight with an armbar. After escaping, Mousasi secured back control and began raining down blows on Takimoto, until eventually the ringside doctors stopped the fight due to a broken eye socket. With the victory, Mousasi was successful in his Pride debut and advanced to the second round of the tournament.
Talk about your last fight. Your first time in Pride. What was that experience like for you?
It was the first time, so I was a little bit nervous. Right away I got caught in the armbar. So this time is a different fight. I'm ready.
Talk about your fight here with Gono.
Gono, he's tough. He's a tough fighter. It's difficult to stop, but I heard he likes to fight stand-up with me, so looking forward to it.
Gegard's quarterfinals opponent was the flashy Akihiro Gono, who was fresh off an opening round victory against hard-hitting Cuban Hector Lombard. At the beginning of the contest, Mousasi found success with his stand-up and unloaded a massive flurry of over 20 unanswered strikes. However, Gono managed to weather the storm, and the fight remained on the mat for most of the first round. In the second, Mousasi again landed huge combinations and appeared to be in control throughout the first 3 minutes, although during a scramble, Gono managed to lock in an armbar that caused Gegard to tap moments later.
Going for the armbar, and right in the nick of time with less than 30 seconds remaining in the fight.
The defeat meant Mousasi was eliminated from the tournament. However, he'd compete once more for an alternate slot against Hector Lombard at Pride Bushido 13. The contest was a back-and-forth war both standing and on the ground, as the two fighters maintained a high pace throughout the non-stop battle. In the end, Mousasi earned a unanimous decision and was granted the alternate spot in the Grand Prix, although ultimately one wasn't needed. This would be the last time Mousasi competed for Pride, as the promotion folded shortly after and was bought by the UFC in the coming months. Around this time, Gegard was offered a chance to fight for the Cage Warriors middleweight title when current champion Martin Kampmann vacated his belt to join the UFC. His opponent would be Gregory Bouchligam, a 5-3 native of France who already held 3 fights under the Cage Warriors banner. From the start of the contest, it was clear his opponent's game plan was to get the fight to the ground, and he would eventually succeed with the takedown after pursuing Mousasi for over a minute. After a failed submission attempt, Mousasi would escape and unload with a massive flurry of ground strikes that forced the referee to stop the contest. The fight was over in just 2 minutes and 20 seconds, as Gegard became the new middleweight champion of Cage Warriors and earned his first title in mixed martial arts. Shortly after becoming Cage Warriors middleweight champion, Mousasi decided to vacate his title and pursue fights in other promotions. During this time, he'd rack up 5 more stoppage wins and extend his record to 22-1 before signing with Japanese promotion Dream. In joining, Gegard agreed to take part in Dream's 16-man middleweight Grand Prix that featured names like Kazushi Sakuraba, Hinato Jacare Souza, and Jason Mayhem Miller. Although in the opening round, Mousasi would face Dennis Kang, a well-rounded veteran who won 24 of his last 26 fights. Right away, Kang landed heavy strikes before securing a takedown, where he then threatened Mousasi with a Kimura for over 30 seconds. After escaping, Mousasi landed up kicks off his back as Kang rushed in, and during a scramble, he secured a triangle choke to force the tap before the end of the round.
It's over. Mousasi wins it. First round triangle.
I'm happy to be here. I'm happy that Mr. Sato gave me a chance to fight in this Grand Prix. I will do my best to win. Hopefully, I will give more good fights, hopefully. Thank you very much.
With the victory, Mousasi advanced to the quarterfinals, set to take place less than 2 months later. In the next round, Gegard faced Dong-Sik Yoon, a South Korean black belt in judo who was currently riding a 4-fight win streak. Throughout the first 5 minutes, Yoon attempted numerous takedowns, however Mousasi had great defense and followed up with multiple counters. Eventually, Gegard landed knees in the clinch that dropped Yoon, although he'd survive and nearly pull off an armbar in the final moments of the round. In the second, Yoon once again shot for a takedown but to no avail, and Mousasi proceeded to batter his opponent with numerous unanswered ground strikes for the remainder of the fight. When the contest was over, Mousasi received a unanimous decision and became the first fighter advancing to the semifinals. The tournament concluded 3 months later, with both rounds of the finals taking place on the same night. Gegard's semifinals opponent was Melvin Manov, an explosive kickboxer who finished 21 of his 22 wins by either KO or TKO. Originally, Manov entered the Grand Prix as a backup, however after serving as a replacement during the quarterfinals, he'd earned a vicious knockout victory over Sakuraba and advanced in the tournament to face Mousasi. After a short filling out process, Gegard shot in for a takedown and landed solid ground and pound before transitioning to a triangle choke during a scramble. Showcasing his incredible strength, Manov lifted Mousasi in the air and attempted to slam himself free, however the impact only further tightened the choke, and moments later Manov tapped at 1 minute and 28 seconds. With a quick victory, Mousasi would be fresh for the finals, which was set to take place just a few hours later. Meeting him in the finals would be Jacare Souza, a Brazilian jiu-jitsu black belt who was currently riding a 10-fight win streak and considered a huge favorite to win the Grand Prix. As the main event was underway, both men showed respect for the other's stand-up, and it took Jacare nearly a minute to shoot in for a takedown. After slamming Mousasi to the canvas, Jacare continued to work for position, until out of nowhere, Gegard connected with an upkick that knocked Souza out cold.
And there he comes in with a Superman, and it's over. It's over. What a crazy finish. Mousasi's the champ.
The contest was over in just 2 minutes and 15 seconds, and with the victory, Mousasi was crowned the winner of Dream's 2008 Grand Prix, as well as the promotion's first ever middleweight champion.
In this tournament, I've become friends with Zelg and Jacare, and they helped me. I'm happy that I won, but I consider them as my friends, so it was hard for me to win from Jacare. I want to thank Dream for giving me the chance to fight here, and of course the people who came to watch the fight. Thank you. That's it.
With ambitions of winning multiple championships, Gegard decided to vacate his newly acquired title and take part in Dream's Openweight Grand Prix. The 8-man tournament featured enormous heavyweights such as Bob Sapp, Hung Man Choi, and John Norge, all of which weighed well over 300 pounds. In the opening round, Gegard was matched up against Mark Hunt, a heavy-handed kickboxer and winner of K1's 2001 World Grand Prix. At the start of the contest, Mousasi connected with a clean right hand and rushed Hunt as he stumbled to the canvas. Once on the ground, Mousasi easily gained side control, and moments later he locked in a straight armbar that caused Hunt to tap at 1 minute and 19 seconds.
It's over. It's over. Mark Hunt is out of the Super Hulk tournament, and Gegard Mousasi is through by a submission. Guy Meska, he did it. As I said, this man is all class.
After his run in Dream, Gegard signed a deal with upstart promotion Affliction and was set to face Renato Babalu Sobral at the third event before the company folded in 2009. Following the cancellation, Strikeforce would rebook the contest for 2 weeks later, and being that Babalu was their current light heavyweight champion, the bout was upgraded to a title fight. Heading into the matchup, Sobral had won 15 of his last 17 fights, and the contest served as the co-main event at Strikeforce Serrano vs. Cyborg. Both fighters exchanged heavy leg kicks in the opening seconds before Babalu initiated a clinch, however Mousasi reversed the position and found himself on the ground with side control. Moments later, Gegard postured up and connected with a flurry of strikes that ended the fight in 1 minute flat. The victory increased Mousasi's current win streak to 13, and the Strikeforce title was now his third championship in 6 years.
Now you come over to the United States. In your first fight in the United States, you become a champion.
Yeah, it feels good. There was some pressure because it was the first time in US, and I just wanted to perform well. So all the hard work I have to thank to my friends, my family, especially my brother, my mother.
Congratulations, incredible performance, and we're looking forward to seeing you down the line.
Thank you very much.
Afterwards, Gegard took part in an exhibition grappling match against Fedor Emelianenko, and during the contest, he'd sustained a shoulder injury that would force him out of Dream's openweight tournament. Meanwhile, his would-be opponent, known as Sokuju, defeated replacement Bob Sapp and advanced to the tournament finals. However, the Mousasi vs. Sokuju matchup would be salvaged in Strikeforce, as there was difficulty finding an opponent for Gegard's first title defense, and the promotion booked the contest for a non-title fight. As the bout was underway, Mousasi controlled most of the action for as long as it lasted, and in the second round he'd earned a victory by TKO for his 14th consecutive win. A month and a half later, Mousasi competed on a New Year's Eve show at Dynamite 2009 when he defeated Gary Goodridge by TKO and increased his win streak to 15. Now holding a record of 28-2-1, Mousasi made his first Strikeforce title defense against a young up-and-coming fighter named Muhammad King Mo Lawal. With only 6 fights to his name, King Mo had far less experience. However, being an accomplished Division I wrestler, he had a great base to rely on. As one might expect, much of the contest was controlled by Lawal's wrestling, although Gegard managed to land decent strikes off his back. Nevertheless, after 5 rounds, Mousasi lost the fight by unanimous decision, and King Mo became the new light heavyweight champion of Strikeforce. After losing the title and snapping his 15-fight win streak, Gegard decided to take part in Dream's 4-man light heavyweight Grand Prix.
Do you think that last Strikeforce fight affect your fight style?
Yes, definitely. I think I learned a lot from the last fight. I think in my last fight I was lacking of aggressiveness, so that's why I'm changing my fighting style, especially against wrestlers.
So when you win the Saturday's fight, the next fight would be a Dream light heavyweight title match. So you will have 2 champion belts in different weight classes.
It's always been a goal of mine to win in different divisions. To win 2 belts in Dream, it's gonna be like what Dan Henderson did in Pride. So I think that would be a very big accomplishment if I would able to win 2 belts. It's definitely a goal of mine, and I want to make a statement with this fight.
Mousasi's semifinals opponent was Jake O'Brien, a former UFC veteran with a 13-3 record. It would take Mousasi all of 31 seconds to dispatch of O'Brien, as he locked in a guillotine choke to get the finish and advanced to the finals. Meanwhile, Tatsuya Mizuno defeated Melvin Manoff with a Kimura to earn his spot in the finals against Mousasi. The Grand Prix concluded 2 months later and was held at Dream 16 in Nagoya, Japan. Mizuno was aggressive early throughout the first minute and a half, however Mousasi avoided the heavy shots and easily secured a takedown. Once on the ground, Mizuno temporarily threatened with an armbar, although Gegard would escape and land massive shots while in top position. Moments later, Mousasi locked in a rear naked choke that ended the contest at 6 minutes and 10 seconds.
Gegard Mousasi becomes a 2-time Dream champion in 2 different weight divisions.
With the victory, Mousasi became Dream's light heavyweight champion and the first fighter within the promotion to win 2 tournaments in 2 different weight classes.
I'm very happy with my accomplishment. I have a couple more that I want in the future. Of course, I want to be champion for a long time. I think in 2-3 years, maybe go to heavyweight and fight for 2 years. I want to prove myself also in US, so I think if I get the opportunity to fight in Strikeforce for the light heavyweight belt, I will do everything I can to win that belt too.
Mousasi's next fight will be back in Strikeforce against another UFC veteran in Keith Jardine. Gegard dominated the contest for most of the 15 minutes, although he'd be deducted a point in the first round due to an illegal upkick. Regardless, after the fight, many felt that Mousasi had won the contest. However, when the scorecards are read, the bout was declared a majority draw. Mousasi then went back to Dream and defended his light heavyweight title when he defeated Hiroyoshi Izumi by TKO in just 3 minutes and 29 seconds. Later that same year, he defeated Ovince St. Preux in Strikeforce by unanimous decision, and shortly after, Dream announced its closure as the promotion was struggling financially. Around the same time, Strikeforce announced its final event as the company was to be absorbed by the UFC. Mousasi would fight on the promotion's last card, picking up a first-round finish over Mike Kyle before joining the world's biggest MMA organization. In his 39th professional bout, Mousasi was set to make his UFC debut in a main event against Swedish standout Alexander Gustafsson. However, a cut received in training forced Alex out of the matchup, and he was replaced on day's notice by teammate and training partner Ilir Latifi. The bout headlined the promotion's second trip to Sweden, and at the time was the fastest selling European event in UFC history. As the fight played out, Mousasi would dominate the contest using his jab, en route to a clear, unanimous decision victory. Afterwards, it was discovered that Mousasi had a knee issue that nearly forced him off the card.
Mousasi, he had knee problems all through his camp. He checked with his doctor, and his doctor said, you can make it through this fight, and then you're going to have surgery after the fight.
Can you update us and tell us how serious it is?
Well, I don't want to talk a lot about my injury, but I can tell that with this injury, I'm pretty sure 95% wouldn't fight from other fighters. So, I stepped up. I didn't cancel the show,
It would take Mousasi almost a year to recover from knee surgery, and in his return, he'd face former UFC light heavyweight champion, the Dragon, Lyoto Machida. In the pre-fight build-up, the matchup was viewed as a #1 contenders bout, with the winner to receive a shot at newly crowned champion, Chris Weidman. The contest was a methodical chess match, as both men had their moments throughout the 25 minutes of action. In the end, Mousasi would lose by unanimous decision, although the contest received Fight of the Night honors. 3 months later, Gegard rebounded by putting on a performance of the night against Mark Munoz, earning the 27th first-round finish of his career. The win set the stage for a huge rematch with Jacare, who went on a tear since losing their first contest, winning 10 of his last 11 fights. Heading into the matchup, this would be Mousasi's 4th UFC main event in the span of a year and a half, and his 42nd MMA fight in total. The contest was a constant grind to keep Jacare from taking the fight to the ground. However, in the end, Souza's world-class jiu-jitsu would prevail, and Mousasi tapped from a guillotine choke in the 3rd round. Gegard was now just 2-2 in the UFC, although in his next outing, he received another performance of the night when he finished mixed martial arts legend Dan Henderson. 4 months later, he'd follow up that victory with a hard-fought unanimous decision over Costas Philippou, and with 2 impressive wins, Mousasi's next bout would be against Ultimate Fighter standout Uriah Hall. Now ranked 6th in the division, Mousasi was considered a huge favorite to win the matchup, being that Hall was unranked and filling in on a month's notice. As the fight was underway, Gegard dominated most of the first round, securing a takedown early and scoring with vicious ground and pound. However, just 5 seconds into the second round, Hall landed a flesh-spinning heel kick that rocked Mousasi and forced the referee to stop the contest moments later.
That'll do it! Uriah Hall has done it! He comes to Japan and stuns Gegard Mousasi! Unbelievable!
The loss was a huge setback in Mousasi's goal of winning a UFC title, although in 2016, he'd fight a trio of Brazilians and pick up 3 more impressive victories. First, he'd earn a unanimous decision over former title challenger Thales Leites. Then at the historic UFC 200, he'd knock out Thiago Santos inside of 1 round and receive another performance of the night bonus. Finally, at UFC 204, he'd TKO Vitor Belfort with a masterful striking display to earn his 40th career win. Now on a 3-fight win streak and ranked number 5 in the division, Mousasi received a chance to avenge his most recent loss when he was booked in a rematch against number 10 ranked Uriah Hall. When the contest started, both men had a calm and methodical approach. However, Mousasi slowly outstruck Uriah and avoided most of his power shots. With less than 30 seconds remaining in the round, Gegard secured a takedown and unleashed a flurry of ground strikes, earning another first-round finish.
Gegard Mousasi settles the score in Belfast. The blip has been dispatched. The score has been settled. Gegard Mousasi can now go forth towards becoming the very best middleweight in the world, knowing that that won't haunt him any longer.
After the victory, there was talks of Gegard facing current champion Michael Bisping, although ultimately he'd be offered a crack at former champion Chris Weidman. As the contest was underway, both fighters were competitive in the first round, with Mousasi landing various strikes on the feet, while Weidman continuously pursued the takedown. The non-stop pace continued in the second round as well, although the fight would end in controversy as it appeared Mousasi landed an illegal knee. However, upon further review, it was determined that the knee was legal, and ultimately Mousasi was awarded a victory by TKO.
I have a lot of respect for Weidman. I don't want to badmouth him, but if you want to play smart and take advantage of the rules, that's not my fault. I'm fighting. At the end of the day, it was legal. But that's what everyone says now. It's legal. It was legal. I don't make the rules.
Is your main priority right now finding a deal with the UFC to remain put, or what's your thoughts on that?
Well, I should get paid. I have defeated Jacare, I have defeated Mark Hunt, I have defeated Dan Henderson, I have defeated Vitor Belfort, I have defeated Weidman. I'm fighting a long fucking time. I've fought all around the world. I've fought all kind of different organizations. I'm top 4 now. I'm sure I will get a deal done, and my goal is to get the belt, UFC belt. I'm not looking to go anywhere else.
Now on a 5-fight win streak, most expected that a title shot was next for Mousasi, but to the surprise of many, he'd leave the UFC and sign with rival promotion Bellator MMA.
Are you no longer a free agent? And if so, tell us the details. Where will you be fighting next?
Well, I've signed a 6-fight deal with Bellator. I'm looking forward to be champion there, and if I achieve that, I'm looking forward to go division up and get the 205 belt. But first, the middleweight belt. That's my goal.
When you fought Chris Weidman in Buffalo, and that fight was over and you were talking to the press, obviously you didn't know where you would fight next, but in your heart, did you know that that was it for you in the UFC? Were you done fighting for the UFC at that point?
No, I think, I'm so close to the belt. I think I'm closest as I could be. I worked before with Scott Coker, so I have no problems going to Bellator. I know how I'm going to get treated in Bellator. That was it. At the end, Bellator was the better choice for me.
Gegard's first opponent will be former Bellator champion Alexander Shlemenko, who is currently riding a 5-fight win streak since losing the middleweight title. As the fight went on, the bout would turn into a gritty, all-out war that saw Gegard's right eye close shut early in the contest. Fighting at a disadvantage, Mousasi would manage to win the first 2 rounds while Shlemenko took the third, and when the bout was over, Gegard received a hard-fought unanimous decision in his Bellator debut. With the victory, Mousasi was awarded a title shot against Bellator's reigning middleweight champion, Rafael Carvalho. After losing in his MMA debut, Carvalho would win his next 15 bouts and capture the middleweight title in 2015. The fight against Gegard would be his 4th defense, and the contest took place at Bellator 200 held in London, England. The bout started with the short filling out process until Mousasi shot in for a takedown and brought the fight to the ground. After obtaining mount, Mousasi eventually flattened out Carvalho and unloaded multiple right hands that forced the referee to stop the contest.
Mousasi is the new Bellator MMA middleweight champion. The 31st first-round finish of Gegard Mousasi's career.
In his 52nd MMA bout, Mousasi won his 5th title and now held championships in 4 different promotions.
You are the first fighter that's ever had the Strikeforce light heavyweight title, Dream middle and light heavy, and now the Bellator middleweight title. Who is it that you think should get that next shot at this title?
I think everyone wants to see Rory McDonald. Hopefully he doesn't chicken out and we have a fight.
Gegard's first title defense would come against a big name in Bellator's current welterweight champion, Rory McDonald. Fresh off of winning the title, Rory was moving up to middleweight in an attempt to become a 2-division champion. The first 5 minutes was a methodical stand-up battle that saw both men connect with effective strikes, although Mousasi would land the better exchanges in the later parts of the round. In the second, the fight would go to the ground early, and Mousasi proceeded to punish McDonald for over 3 minutes until landing a barrage of elbows that ended the contest.
Mousasi ground and pound. Mousasi maintains the Bellator MMA middleweight championship, stopping Rory McDonald.
4 months later, Gegard booked his next title defense against Rafael Lovato Jr., an 8-time world medalist and 4th-degree black belt in jiu-jitsu, who was currently undefeated in mixed martial arts with a record of 9-0. The bout was originally scheduled to take place at Bellator 214, although a back injury sustained by Mousasi would cause the match to be rebooked for later in the year. As the fight was underway, rounds 1 and 2 would be controlled by Lovato and his exceptional ground game, while rounds 3 and 4 were controlled by Mousasi and his vicious stand-up. In the 5th, Lovato managed to get the fight back to the ground, where he controlled Mousasi for the remainder of the contest. When the fight was over, Lovato received a majority decision to become Bellator's new middleweight champion and hand Mousasi the 7th loss of his career. 3 months after losing the title, Gegard rematched Lyoto Machida in the main event at Bellator 228. The fight was a back-and-forth chess match as both men looked to counter for a majority of the contest, and when the scorecards were read, Mousasi evened the series by winning a close split decision. In the following months, unfortunate news was revealed that Rafael Lovato Jr. was dealing with a brain condition called cerebral cavernoma, and in February of 2020, he would vacate his title. Later that year, the promotion booked Mousasi as one half of the main event at Bellator 250, which would determine a new middleweight champion. His opponent would be current welterweight champion and longtime Bellator veteran Douglas Lima, who much like Rory McDonald was moving up in weight for a chance at a second title. Right away, Mousasi established his striking dominance and outlanded Lima an average of 5 strikes to 1 throughout the first round. The second and third weren't much different as Gegard continued to outstrike his opponent. However, in the championship rounds, Lima found success using leg kicks that severely slowed Mousasi's attack. When the bout was over, Mousasi won by unanimous decision to become a 2-time middleweight champion in Bellator. After conquering Douglas Lima, Gegard produced 2 incredible back-to-back TKOs against John Salter at Bellator 264 and Austin Vanderford at Bellator 275. In his latest outing, Mousasi was booked against King Mo protege Johnny Eblen as the main event for Bellator 282. Following the blueprint set by King Mo years prior, Eblen used his superior wrestling to dominate Mousasi over the course of 5 rounds, and when the fight was over, he'd pull off the upset to become the new middleweight champion of Bellator. As of this recording, Mousasi is yet to make his return to the cage. However, regardless of if he does or not, Gegard's had the type of career that most fighters can only dream of. He's fought in just about every region of the world and competed against some of the sport's best fighters ranging from welterweight all the way to heavyweight. Not only has he received belts in multiple promotions, but he also did so in multiple formats and weight classes. Out of his 49 professional wins, 40 came by way of stoppage, giving Mousasi a finishing rate of just under 82%, and out of those 40 stoppage wins, 32 came within the first round. Although he'd never receive a shot at a UFC title, Mousasi has won belts in 4 major promotions and remained as one of the top fighters in the world for nearly 2 decades. Without a doubt, the legacy of Gegard Mousasi is unlike any other in the sport of mixed martial arts, so let us never forget the Dreamcatcher and his legendary championship career. Please like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below with the topic for a future episode. Again, don't forget to follow the channel on social media for occasional giveaways, and visit fullcontactfighter.com to own a piece of mixed martial arts history. As always, thanks for watching and supporting my channel.
Afterwards, Khabib Nurmagomedov came out and said, Mousasi is the most underrated fighter in MMA today. Did you get a chance to see his comments, and what did it think to sort of get that compliment?
I appreciate this comment because I feel that way, and now I'm getting a little bit credit. And but I never wanted to be the best. I always wanted to make money. That was my own thing. I never wanted to be the best. I thought, okay, as long as I do this many fights, I earned this much, and I'm out of here.
Like you said, people aren't really putting the respect on your name, but when you go and look at the places you've competed, the winning streaks you've gone on, is there any doubt in your mind that you are a Hall of Famer?
You know, I never cared for being famous, but a little bit of recognition is never a bad thing. You know, I worked hard for it, so you want to get that recognition that you feel like you deserve. And after all this year, I think I'm getting some.
Sometimes these things happen in MMA.